going to be all changes I made to the bed of the truck. Out.
Ready?
Yeah.
This next part here is going to be on this gem right here. This is the light material handling crane that's specifically meant for the LMTV. It will also go onto the MTVs. It's specifically meant to be issued out to the LMTV. LMHC is the acronym for it in the technical manual. LMTV crane, Stewart and Stevenson. I managed to get my hands on this thing thanks to Brett at Warfox Equipment. I wore him down enough, managed to get him to do a sale/trade, and it did not come with the winch motor and stuff on it. And that's part of what going through this part is going to show my journey. I didn't really initial show do any recordings, or I lost them going to pick it up and initially setting up, but I did show a while back in one of the videos a quick at the ending, like a time lapse of me setting it up with my wife in the back of the truck, and I'm showing it again here. Basically gonna go through showing how I made the control box. I made it in an ammo can so it could be kind of removed, and welding together and finding the winch up here and piece it together the best I can, and then testing it. I don't use it a lot, but when I do need it, it works great, and I'm pretty happy with how it came out, and I'm sure it'll change again over time, but here it is. Jumping right into a time lapse here because I lost the video clips laying out all the different parts. I had a friend fabricate a 1/2-inch plate the same size as the mounting adapter on top of the crane. Then I drilled 4 holes and tapped them so that way the bolts from the bottom would match up. I took the 24-volt winch, welded it to that plate so it was one solid piece to be able to bolt up like the factory piece would, and painted it Kark green. Okay, we're many weeks later, and kind of at the next phase on getting this light material handling crane going, and figured out making all my controls here. And this is what I settled on after trying a couple different things. Took a while for me to get all my parts and make everything, but basically what I did is I made a winch controller and put it in an ammo can here. And I decided to put it in an ammo can because an ammo can is waterproof. It's a little tight in here, but I didn't want to use a big one, take up a bunch of space. But basically got a slave cable coming in, the reversing solenoid, 40 amp breaker, which is appropriately sized for the winch motor, and the wireless controller. Drilled a little hole in the side for the antenna, sealed it up. And you'll connect the slave cable to the side. And then you got your lead coming out. It's on a small Anderson connector. And then a small lead coming off the motor going up to the winch. Came with a pair of these wireless. So the next step is to get the crane back up in the truck, hook it all up, test it. I did mock this controller up already off camera a bunch of times because the wire diagram that was sent to me by where I got the solenoid or the reversing solenoid from was actually incorrect. I had to do a bunch of experimenting. I was about to send it back, and then I figured it out on my own. It did work, but it's not to say I didn't make a mistake wiring this whole thing up here. But I got to wind the cable back on there. I guess try picking something up with it. And then really the last step's just going to be is figuring out minor details, because I don't really want to just leave this hanging. I got a nice connector thing, and I was thinking about maybe making a mount for it so it's a little bit more secure on here, but until I make sure it works, those minor details. Thought about maybe putting some magnets so that this could be held on the side of something, or I don't know. But anyway, this is the idea I got for now. So got to get it back in. All right, it's up. I don't have the cable, but everything's attached. You can go over and show we got it plugged into the slave port. I'm not going to start the truck just to test it, but got it coming up here. And then, so I got it plugged into the control box that I'd already showed you. I cut the handle shorter and then worked on this handle to loosen it up because that wasn't going good. Let's see. Ready? Look at that. This is the weight that's supposed to go on there, and this hook for this winch is really small. So it's a little not proportionate, but it's on there. The idea of this weight is when you're going out and in, it doesn't get all cattywampus on you and come off the pulley. And then I think what it's also supposed to do is it gives you that extra help so something won't pop off the hook. But I'm gonna get a different hook to put at the end of the pulley, but it's doing what it's supposed to do and working. The cable's spooled up pretty good. It's a little unneat with the cables and stuff just running all over the place. Kind of like my unshaven face and dirty fingernails, but it's working for now. So now I just got to go find something heavy to pick up and test it for the video.
Well, it picks it up, it's just the slings are too long.
All right, so I just maneuvered the truck up next to the MEP 802 Alpha generator, and I'm gonna do pretty much the first real test of the light material handling crane. I took everything off the bed of the truck and got it as a cargo truck. So I'm just gonna set everything up, and I welded up a little jig that kind of is like a spreader bar type thing to make lifting these up easier, and we're gonna see how it goes. Normally I would recommend anytime that you're gonna use this, idle your truck. But for the purpose of the video, because I'm gonna be recording, and of course, anytime I try to do this, me and my wife together as a team, my kids are misbehaving in the background, so we need to be able to hear them and make sure that they're not doing stuff that they're not supposed to. So I have 4 6TL batteries in here, so I have a good reserve battery life. There they are yelling at each other, if you can hear them in my microphone. But anyway, so I'm gonna loosen this, and I still need to extend the boom and all that stuff. One thing that I'm going to do, the placard on each side that shows the different angles and stuff like that. I noticed the first time that I extended the boom, because they use pop rivets on this, this just slides in and out. The pop rivets interfere with the boom easily sliding in and out, and it jams. So I'm gonna drill out these pop rivets, and then I'm gonna eventually remount them down there on the boom just to have them. I had this little custom ATV winch cover made in the same color as what I have the turret cover made. I don't know if this will stand here when I'm driving, though I did go for like a 45-minute drive and it didn't come off, just to keep all this out of the weather. All right, I had to argue with it a little bit and figure out the pins. It's part of the, there's no guidance in the TM for this. It's one of the things I actually dislike about the LMHC, is to adjust this angle. You can probably see it from down there. It has all these holes for the pins. And what you would think looking at it initially is that you keep it in one hole, and then each one of these holes, you adjust it on the one to adjust the angle. It's not. Each one of these pairs of holes coincides with an angle. So you need to pull both the pins. And when you're doing it by yourself, it's just not fun. And I'm a weakling. Maybe if you're a cool, strong guy, it's easier for you. And obviously everything in the military is at least buddy pairs or more. And that diagram you would think shows you the pinholes, and it's not. After fighting and drilling this thing out, gonna rotate this over, and hopefully this goes okay. All right, it's off the ground. I just hope that we're gonna have enough height. I'm gonna start the truck because I want to make sure it's not drawing the battery too much. Jesus, it got me. One thing I did off camera that was kind of a pain in the ass was I actually shortened this cable because as we were lifting it, the motor was really straining, and probably cut the cable length in half because it was really reducing the output of the motor because of all the revolutions of the cable. That was something I didn't think about with using the winch as lifting instead of pulling. You don't need the length. Just gonna kind of wrap it up and clean up, but there's the test. This is how the technical manual shows to stow it in the bed of the LMTV. I don't particularly like it like this, but since I was making the video, I wanted to show it. You can see how the pins are set up in the crane itself, and the winch cable is attached to one of the bed hooks. And that's that. Like you saw at the beginning of the video, this is kind of how I've chose to leave it stowed. It's not per the TM's way, but I like it this way. It's the most compact. It doesn't stick up any higher than the cab of the truck, at least not noticeably. It's pretty compact. Eventually I'll find a faster way to deploy it and stuff, but for now I can get it set up in a couple minutes like this and use it. Happy with it. Another good tool to have on the truck. Though I'd still like to have a separate truck that was an M1084 or M1086 with the material handling crane off the back. I'd be able to lift up a lot more weight. All right, my next little project is putting these two tow bar mounts. Keep the tow bar a little more mounted on this area right here. I'm just gonna put some rivet nuts in there and bolt it up. And there should be enough room when the troop seats are mounted to keep it out of the way. I'm gonna have to come back and revisit this a little bit because the little bit of foam that I put on there, I thought that it would be enough to squeeze the tow bar to make up for the difference in diameter from the medium to the heavy tow bars, and it wasn't. But what worked out pretty well is taking the wheel chuck and wedging it behind, and it's up there more than secure enough now. And a little added bonus is with the way everything lines up, the footing for the bottle jack wedges behind, and there's absolutely no way that that will come out of there. So that kind of gives that a home too. It's not like this is coming in and out of here all the time. It's just kind of a home to give it that is neater than a strap across the bottom. I'm happy with it for now, and I'm thinking maybe like cutting up a tire tread or something, maybe wrapping it around each one of the tow bars for when it's in there. Might do the trick. I'll keep that in mind, and in another update when I find a better solution for it, that'll be it. My next thing is going to be showing mounting jerry can holders on here. I already did this one on the passenger side just to kind of figure it out. So let's go through it. All right, well, you obviously need a jerry can holder to do this, and I'd hope that you have some sort of jerry cans to put in there. And then this is one of the proper straps that goes through on there. And then I have the mounting hardware. And as far as tools go, 1/2 inch is to remove some of the hardware that's on there. 9/16 using deep sockets, ratchet, and then a drill for drilling the new holes. Center punch for guiding the drill bits, and then a marker. I'm gonna end up needing to move my fire extinguisher, which is fine. You also need to take this off, which I'm not sure how many people actually use it. I guess it's for if you're backing up, you don't want to mess up this, but You could probably reattach this if you really wanted to the jerry can or something like that, but I'm not too concerned about it. The 1/2 inch stuff is for moving this, and I also used 1/2 inch hardware on the fire extinguisher, so I'm gonna start with that. That hook, for some reason, was very stubborn, so I ended up going to just get the impact. You could have got it off with a socket. It just would have taken a little bit more time. Anyway, so now I gotta line this up, and what I did on the other side, just laid it on here, kind of moved it over until it hits the angle, and then moved it back. And you're gonna utilize these 4 and then this 1, because if you drill in too far over there, you're never gonna be able to get a wrench in there. If you have some way of getting in there that's not a huge pain in the ass, by all means, but 5 I think is more than enough for putting this on there. All right, all wrapped up. What I found is when you're putting the strap on, because this is a pretty tight area, when you go to put the jerry can on, roughly 4 fingers length with the hook on this side. Get this out of the way. Just to kind of show you. So that way, when you stow it, when nothing is in there, you have enough room and there's enough to clasp it. There'll be plenty of room where you're not trying to fight with the narrow space in here to clamp it, because it'll loosen up and it'll come on this side and you'll be clamping it right here to put the jerry can on. Just to give you an example, I'll put this fuel jerry can on here, and on these things right here, they just kind of slide to loosen, and then the hooks, they only have one way. There's like a flat spot. You can see it just kind of fits in there the right way. So loosen this enough where it will feed through. Once I get this kind of more perfected, I might actually put some marks on the straps. And then once it's loose, you pull the slack out of it, and then it's tight. Losing daylight here, but finished up. I think this is a pretty good use for either side. And as you can see, I have a genuine Scepter military fuel can, as they're called. And then also genuine Scepter military water can will also fit here. The smaller ones, anything will fit in one of these. They have like the decon kits and stuff too. One thing I did think about with this was like road debris type stuff. And honestly, the chances of any sort of road debris hitting this, very slim. So even with carrying fuel there, I wouldn't be too concerned about it. Even though diesel is not gonna like ignite with a spark or anything like that. It's pretty hard to get diesel to light on fire.